Bonjour. So welcome to our first lesson in French, which is going to be numbers. Now, numbers are quite important for everyday life. Um, how much a loaf of bread costs, how much bread or how many bread you want to buy, paying for an Uber ride, and all that. But you already know how to pronounce, identify such numbers in English. Now we're going to learn that in French. All right. But we're going to start off with just with number 1 to 100, okay, which are a series of numbers that you can't like use almost every day. We're not going to be looking into the billions, million, hundreds of thousands, and all that. Not yet. All right. And at the end of the lesson, you'll be able to identify numbers in French, be able to write them, and or more. And then you have assignments or in class quiz to do. Which you practice along the way, and a final exam, a final test, which you take home to do, or say a final assignment rather, to take home to do. And you'll be able to write number 1 to 100. Okay, so let's progress to the next slide. Let's kick off. All right. So I'm gonna read or pronounce numbers 1 to 20 in French. All you have to do is just listen, and if you like, you can pronounce along with me. And at the end of the slide, you can pause, take some time out to, yes, reflect on what you just learned. And then if you want to replay the slide again to listen to my pronunciations, you can do so before we progress to the next slide. Okay, so let's start. So number 1 is 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4, 5, 5, 6, 6, 7, 7, 8, 8, 9, 9, 10, 10, 11, 11, 12, 12, 13, 13, 14, 14, 15, 15, 16, 16, 17, 17, 18, 18, 19, 19, and 20, 20. All right, you got that? Now you can pause the slide, all right, and go back and listen again to how I'm pronouncing it, all right? But if you feel that you're ready, then we can progress onto some little things that you might have noticed on this slide, all right? So numbers 6 and 10 are not pronounced as 6 or dix, but rather like SIS or DIS. So which would be sis or dis, okay? And then you also notice that 17, 18, 19 are like adding two numbers together. It's like adding 10 and 17 to 10 and 7 to make 17, right? So there you go. So those three will be pretty much easy, I guess, to also remember. So 17 is 17, 19, 19. All right, you got that? So try pronouncing this one more time on your own, and maybe even writing them as well, before we progress to the next slide. All right, so we're going to progress now to the next slide, and you have certain rules, okay, we're going to observe. All right, so for numbers 30, 40, 50, 60, they are pronounced as 30 is 30, 40 40, 50 50, 60 60. Got that? Now we're going to build on these two. All right. So you notice that all these numbers are obviously different from what 20 is, which is 20 is 20. Okay. So we're going to build on all these numbers together, including 20, in rule number 2, which if you want to pronounce 21, 31, 35, 68, this is what you do. You had the hyphen, et, and another hyphen. Now that those letters et are pronounced as e, Okay, and "et" in French means "and." Okay, so 21 would be 20 and 1, of which will be pronounced as one word, 21. Can you do that again? 21. Okay, so 31 would be 31, not 31. Okay, 41, 41, 51, 51, and 61, 61. Now let's add a bit of mix to it, all right? And let's do 48. So what do you think 48 would be? So if you said, or if you wrote down 48, then you're correct. Okay, you simply follow these rules in here on how to write it down with the hyphen, "e" and another hyphen. Okay, so here's our first in-class assignment. All right, can you write numbers 1 to 69? Just get a book or a fresh piece of paper and try writing them out without looking on the other slide. Okay, it's okay if you make a mistake because this is just a first lesson and it'll always be about practice, practice. Okay, so try writing numbers 1 to 69. All right, and once you're ready, we can progress to the next slide. Okay, so now we're going to move on to the next slide. And rule number 3. Okay, we're going to learn how to pronounce and identify numbers 70 to 100. So with number 70, you notice that it is written as, by now you would know what 60 is and 10 is. So 60 is 60 and 10 is 10. Okay, so 70 is pronounced as 70. And 71, while observing the same rule as rule number 2, would be 71. Okay, so how do we get to 71? 70 is 70. And after this, or after 10, what comes next? 11, right? And 11 in French is ons. And what do you think comes after ons? Right? That's yes, 13. So 70. Sorry, so not 13. Sorry, I mean 12. Yeah. So what comes after ons is 12, which is 12. So 72 would be 72. Got that? 73, 73. What about 79? Got that? 69. All right. So let's progress to 80. 80 is 48. Can you pronounce it again? 48. And 81 would be, sorry, what am I looking at? I must be hungry. So 80 is 80. Sorry, not 40. It's not 40. I know it can be tricky, right? So 80 is 80. Yeah, 80. 81 will be 81. And what do you think 82 would be? You simply add what after 20? 2. So 82 would be 82. So let's do a quick flash test. What about 85? Yeah, so 85. You got that. All right. Now 90 is pronounced as 90. 91. Okay, progress again. 91. What about 99? You got that. 99. And then 100, just 4 letters. 100. So bravo. You've reached this point of learning 1 to 100. And let's try practice, but let's not go too far. Let's try practice. Just as we did with rule number 2, let's try practice how to write and pronounce 70 to 100. So once again, at this point, you can pause, get to your fresh piece of paper, or preferably a book that you have, and write out 70 to 100 in French and pronounce it as well. Now you can record yourself pronouncing it to see whether it matches, whether how well it sounds. Probably could even be better than myself. All right. So once you're ready, we will then progress to the next slide, which is actually we're almost done. Another test, a final one. This will be for you to take home. Okay, whereby you're going to write and pronounce 1 to 100. So 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way to 100. Got that? All right. So what we've learned at this point is certain rules. Once again, let's just go back to them. Let's start with 1 to 20. How to pronounce them and how to write 1 to 20. What 30, 40, 50, 60 is in French. 30, 40, 50, 60. And how to write additional numbers, all right, such as 21, 25, and all that, which is you simply add hyphen, another hyphen. So 28 would be 28. 52 would be 52, all right, and so on and so on. Okay, and now, but for 70 all the way to 100, still the same rule, but those whole numbers of 70, 80, 90 are a little bit different. Okay, so we've learned how to pronounce them and also how to write them out while observing the same rule as rule number 2, right? And obviously, you'd practice how to write 70 to 100. And finally, in the grand scheme of things as a whole, writing 1 to 100. And so bravo, félicitations, as I say in French, which is congratulations, you have reached the end of your first lesson, right? In French, it is numbers, okay? Like I said, we're starting off from basic, simple stuff, and we're going to build up. So don't worry about 1,000, 1,000,000, and all that for now. We'll get onto that later on. And in our next lesson, we're going to look at days of the week and months of the year, all right? Which is going to be interesting because we're going to add what we learned with numbers to days of the week and months of the year to create new sentences and stuff. It's going to be quite interesting, all right? But for now, simply take some time off, look back on what we've studied, and then practice, like we said earlier, writing 1 to 100, so that in the next class, you obviously feel more confident doing so, all right? So if you haven't subscribed yet, simply subscribe to Lingua, and so that when new content is uploaded, you can ding ding ding, get a notification and access the lessons. And obviously you can see it's we've been done about 2 minutes ago, so the lessons are just going to be about 10 to 12 minutes thereabouts. All right, so au revoir and a bientôt, which is see you later, and we would be in touch very soon. Au revoir.